ISRL Esports coverage of Division 4 Round 8 here in Season 4. We are at the famed Silverstone circuit here in Great Britain. I'm joined in the commentators booth today by ISRL Monkeys, or also known as Fallen Monkeys. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Happy to be in the booth here for this exciting Division 4 race. Thank you for having me here, Carter. And like I said, I'm excited to kick things off and see what the drivers can do here around Silverstone.
Yeah, absolutely. Trying to get my audio settings fixed. There we go. Now you can might be able to hear a little bit better. Actually, I'll turn it down because I got some information last time that it was kind of hard to hear. We'll see how that works. For now, got a couple cars out on track. Always Rick Stunik, who's actually subbing today. He's joined by Ephraim Tabone and the Alpha Tauri. Just want to quickly jump to the Division 4 standings. It's still currently Kurt Valletta with a pretty big gap here at the top with V-Mark, Ephraim, and Louis Angelov, who Stunik is subbing for, right behind. But Monkeys, go ahead and tell us a little bit about this track. What do you have to look out for, and what are the corners that you really got to nail in order to put in a great lap?
So one of the big corners that strikes me right off the bat is a corner we're seeing some of the lead drivers on their outlap go through right now, Maggots and Beckett's. Very tricky, especially with the curbs. If I'm being honest, it's easy to invalidate, but easy to ride those curbs and lose control of the car. And of course, afterwards, I believe it's Stowe, the corner after the hanger straight. You can carry a lot of speed, a lot more than what you might initially expect around that corner as well. So it can be a very big time gainer or time loser, especially here in qualifying more than anything else. And there is one last corner that I believe we have the Ferrari of, not Jordan, Sprunky that was just going through right now. It's this swooping right-hander that, in my experience with my practice so far this week, it has caused major issues. You want to get on the power early, but I've seen it in the races, I've seen it in qualifying. Really easy to lose the back end of the car if you're not careful on the exit of that corner. So just a few of the areas to keep an eye out from my initial perspective here at Silverstone.
Yeah, just a couple things to look out for. You mentioned it. Obviously, Maggots and Beckett's is pretty much a do or die here, especially in qualifying. With the track limits, of course, being as stingy as they are here in the F1 game. But no one yet to set a lap, but I'll tell you what, Victor's looking pretty good right now. Of course, he set the fastest 2 seconds. He's the first one to set them. But nevertheless, coming around now to the final couple corners. We're going to see what the benchmark time's going to be. Interesting, though, Monkeys. A lot of these guys opting for the soft tires. Only 3 venturing out onto the mediums here at the moment.
Yeah, it is a bit of an interesting call, but to be honest, I do have to agree with a lot of the drivers opting for the soft tires. I actually went and took a look at the tire strategies and what was discussed over the course of last season, and it seems as though the soft and the medium tires tend to last a lot longer than what they would in most tracks. So you can go a long amount of times, I would say 10, 11, maybe even 12 laps if you're willing to push them on those soft tires. So the one-stop soft to mediums it is something that you can complete fairly easily if needed be. And I do think a lot of the drivers might want to get that extra jump right off the start when everybody's bunched together with the soft tires. But of course I'm seeing the likes of Mushroom, Doomsray, Lewis, maybe opting for those medium tires, seeing where the benchmark is. If they're feeling confident with them, you can take them a little bit longer and try that overcut. Get on the quick tire near the end of the race and just push for those last few overtakes at the end when you're on the faster tire.
Yeah, absolutely, and we've had a retirement already. It was Cosmo, one of the Renaults, I think that is. Yeah, had a
I
bit of
think
an
a Racing
off,
Point.
or Racing Point. Excuse me, kind of hard to see the color. But
No worries.
might Yeah, early exit kind of went a little bit too far into the corner, maybe didn't get the braking zone right, but yeah, that's Cosmo out of qualifying early. You
Yeah,
mentioned
and
Doomsray. Go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, Bacher also had a moment on the exit of Cop's corner. I just caught that going through the list. So that's an invalidation, and it looks to be maybe a little bit of wing damage for that Red Bull as well. So that's definitely going to be an invalidated lap and an abandoned lap at that.
Yeah, and look at these two guys. We've got Louis and there's Alpha Tauri behind him. It is Ephraim. Almost look like they're racing here in qualifying, both looking to set a time. Louis goes 8th, Ephraim goes 5th, all chasing Victor. Well, I was going to say Victor, but it's now ISRL Jordan who goes fastest with a 125.1. Uh, so far, not looking like the mediums are putting too much of a fight up right now, but we've still got 11 minutes left, and uh, track temperatures and track conditions can change in the blink of an eye here sometimes, so still a long way to go.
Oh yeah, and especially the other thing that I always like to discuss here, especially around Silverstone, weather can also play a factor. Now, those who are familiar with Division 4 know very well how often weather seems to creep up whenever possible. We see a lot of rain races. For the driver's sake, I'll be honest, I'm kind of hoping it's going to be a dry race, but for us in the commentators booth, the wet weather races always make it a little bit more exciting for us to watch, keeps the drivers on their toes. But I know, given the frequency of these wet weather races, the drivers are probably hoping for a nice, dry, sunny race here, like we're seeing here in qualifying.
Yep, so far so good, at least for the weather. Not really a cloud in the sky. Maybe in the distance just a little bit, but yeah, no rain, at least for now. Not sure about the race. We'll have to check in with some of the in race reporting that we get sometimes. But oh, the big lock up there from Josh, who's also reserving here in D4, has yet to set a lap in the Renault, but would definitely expect him to do rather well considering he is one of our Division 1 drivers, I'd have to say.
Yeah, I would expect to see Josh put up a very solid lap. It's looking to be a pretty decent one this time around. I was following him on what I thought was his flying lap about a lap ago, but I think it was an out lap because he did invalidate having to avoid, I believe it was one of the Williams drivers that was I think on their in lap. But as he's coming through Stowe now, he's got a few corners to go and it's looking to be a pretty good time for Josh too. Even with the lockups that he's had, but actually now that I'm looking at it, maybe a little bit slower than what you'd expect.
Yeah, he's
Only a
definitely
128.3.
Yeah, definitely he's going to want to try again. Got plenty of time to do it, so not too much stress for Josh. But currently sits 11th, right behind Louis. Bacher, another big name, yet to set a lap. V-Mark, second in the standings, still yet to set a lap. And of course, the championship leader currently, Kurt Valletta, who's actually on a lap right now. We're going to jump to him as
I'll
he's
be
ending
honest,
it.
it's not going to be anything to remember. I think the timing I saw was 2 minutes and 45 seconds on that lap.
Oh,
So
my
I think it's for the
goodness.
best that it didn't appear on the timing tables. I think now he's starting his lap for real.
Yep, I'd have to agree with you there, and was somehow able to get 44 on the side of his car. Not sure how he was able to do that, but again, nevertheless, this is the lap that's really going to count for the championship leader. Sets a pretty good first sector.
That's an invalidation
Oh,
for
wow, I
Kurt
didn't even notice
Valletta.
that. Yeah, that just
So
happened.
yeah, it just happened right at the end of Sector 1 as he was taking the swooping left-hander, pushed the inside curb just a little bit too much, and the marshals here at Silverstone were not happy with that whatsoever. And Carter, I think you said it best with these track limits. They can be very frustrating at the best of times.
You know me too well. I love my track limits here in F1
Oh yeah.
2020. Uh, and we've still waiting on V-Mark, Mushroom, Bacher, Kurt Valletta. Kurt Valletta was just coming around now. I think that was RH2 who was setting a lap, or maybe it was. Well, I thought it was. but apparently he's come back into the pits. We're going to keep it with VMark for now. Kurt Valletta is actually coming across the line now, but where's he going to go? Or, he's still on. None of his laps are counting because, of course, he invalidated it. Bakker's in the grass, just avoiding some other cars. We've got a bit of a four-car train here going through Maggots and Beckett's right now, and I think, yeah, it's VMark, Mushroom, Bakker, all kind of bunched up together.
Might be Jordan there, who's bunched up there with the Red Bull. 'Cause
Oh,
Mushroom's
yep.
just coming around. Well, he was just approaching cops, but took an invalidation as well. Did Mushroom on what's looking to be four qualifying all on the same tire, unless it is a bit of a glitch from my end showing this tire usage. But I think Mushroom might want to dive into the pits, maybe put on a set of soft tires and get that one last lap in when it counts the most.
Yeah, absolutely, but no, he's going to keep on going. And as you mentioned, 4 laps old, medium tires nonetheless. And, I mean, still really yet to set not only a valid lap time, but a representative time of the pace that we know he has. But with 6 minutes
Come to
left, approximately, it's ISRL Jordan Victor, and scratch that, it's Kurt Valletta taking P2 with a great lap on the medium tires, nearly only 5/10 behind Jordan.
Yeah, now I'm just gonna come back to Mushroom in terms of those the medium tires. I'm trying to, and Carter, you might be able to help me out with this. I know leading into last week in the Belgian Grand Prix, Mushroom did have a qualifying ban for not
Ah.
serving his original qualifying ban. And I feel like I remember hearing word in the cockpit that there was still a qualifying ban for Mushroom leading into Silverstone, but I'm not seeing that confirmation in the steward's office, but potentially that could be why he's just sticking out on those medium tires and even so invalidating these laps as he's going along, knowing that he's going to be starting from the back of the grid either way.
Yeah, that is definitely a possibility. Look at Bakker from no time on the board to P2 right away. Definitely putting the pressure on Jordan, and not only is he doing that, but he jumped Kurt Valletta, given he is on the medium tires, but still put a bit of a gap between those two. A Stunek now, another one of these drivers yet to set a time, coming around now sector 3. Looks to be a pretty decent time. He's just got to nail these last 2 corners. And the AlphaTauri will be able to judge his pace here moving down a division. And it's a solid P6 for a Stunek.
Yeah, good lap time, the 125.8 for the AlphaTauri reserve. I know he's been, from what he was mentioning, I know he's not overly happy with the amount of practice he's put in here at Silverstone, at least leading up until now. But to bring that AlphaTauri up on that limited practice up to nearly a top 5 in qualifying, that's a very impressive feat, and I do hope that he can carry that momentum forward into the race and pump out a good result for the AlphaTauri squad.
Absolutely. And AlphaTauri right now sitting pretty good in the constructors standings for T4 for Division 4, second only to Mercedes of Kurt Valletta and Chris Nerazzurro, but not too far behind due to the fact that it's been a pretty good team effort from AlphaTauri. And I think Mercedes, honestly, they're catching a break with Kurt Valletta in P1 by a good distance. Really hoping his teammate can help him boost in that constructors, but still about 19 points clear of P2.
Yeah. Excuse me. I'm looking. I was just looking at the this driver standings myself, and I do see that very large gap between Kurt Valletta and second place of VMark, like you're mentioning. But Kurt Valletta only fourth so far in qualifying. I think he might be on a lap right now. It looks as though that is the, or is
I
he?
think that's
No,
his teammate, yeah.
he's in the pits. Yes, that was his teammate out on an out lap. I was actually riding with VMark in the man in second place in the driver's VMark, but he actually invalidated his time, diving into the pits now, and with this long pit lane here at Silverstone, It's gonna be a little worrisome for VMark if he can get those tires changed and get back out on track in time to get one last lap in. 'Cause if he's starting from the back of the grid, it's gonna be a lot of work for the McLaren to try to get back up to get back up, excuse me, and battle Kurt Valletta. Like we probably want to be seeing here, the top two drivers duking it out here around Silverstone.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Victor, I think he only had set that one lap. Excuse me, was the first to set a time and hasn't really gone out yet. But look
I
at this, a
know.
huge impact into the wall from Victor, and he's out of the session early, or excuse me, late here in qualifying. Rusty Oil Can also had an incident. Looks like almost entering the pit lane. So two huge crashes here late in qualifying. But luckily for Victor, was able to set that pretty decent time early on.
Yeah, that was very crucial for Victor because this time out on that flying lap, as you saw, Cop's corner really creating an issue. It is a corner you can take flat out, but you have to watch out when you're riding those the curbs here around Silverstone, especially at such high speeds like we saw Victor take it, because that can very well create issues, just like we saw what happened to Victor on that previous lap. But still, in P5 for now, a minute to go in qualifying, so like you said, Carter, put himself into a decent position, even with even with the crash out, to get a decent start to the race. Assuming the timing tables don't change too much between now and the end of qualifying, but we do have lots of drivers on track right now getting their flying laps set.
Yeah, and it's still Jordan holding strong here at the top of the standings in qualifying, under a minute left. So the cars who are on a lap, or maybe I think beginning a lap right now, it's definitely going to be their last one. Uh, but yeah, I thought I saw a Haas spinning in the background. It was that Captain Blade? I think it was having a little bit of a
Yeah,
spin.
I believe so.
Nothing too worrisome though. I think he's able to get it back going again. No, he's not.
Oh no, that was I think that was Lewis.
That may
I
have
think that
been
was
Lewis.
Lewis
Yeah.
who retired out of qualifying, potentially on track. I think that might have just been the car leaving to go into the exit road there.
Yep, and we've been waiting for it. Is VMark, what's his time going to look like? It's still actually nothing, but just able to get across the line. I think that was his outlap. He was just able to get across the line before the timer ended. So this lap will count for him. Just able to squeeze in one more lap.
Yeah, now this is where it's gonna have to count. He's gonna have to make it perfect, is VMark, as he's nearing the end of Sector 1, so going well. But we've seen these track limits really bite. But that's a purple first sector for VMark here. So it's looking, at least early on, like it's gonna be a really strong lap for the McLaren driver. But can he qualify higher than Kurt Valletta, who now fell down to
To,
5th,
yes,
as
Ephraim
that
goes
was
second.
F, yeah. And
So
he made
that's one AlphaTauri in P2, one in 8th. Still waiting on VMark. We're watching RH2. He jumps up to second, or excuse me, he jumps up 2 spots to 8th. So that's his qualifying done. Let's switch to VMark now. It's a purple second
Oh, and
sector.
Kurt Valletta took pole right back from Jordan right at the end. That's a 124.8 for the Mercedes.
Yep, just about, just under 2/10 from ISRL Jordan, who honestly put up a great fight till literally the last second of qualifying, held pole. But now he's going to be hoping that VMark won't nudge him out, and he
Wow.
does. And look at that lap from VMark, 3/10 of a second ahead of Kurt Valletta, and with a huge lap. And I think that is going to do it. So he was the last car to set a lap time, and he takes pole position with it. So that
Yeah,
is
really made
VMark on pole.
yeah, really made that lap count when the track was at its quickest. Found the time where he needed, kept it clean, and a very solid lap time from the McLaren driver.
And that is qualifying over here at Great Britain. It is, as we said, the two Maltese, like we usually see at the front. VMark, Kurt Valletta, that's your front row. ISRL Jordan and Ephraim will start third and fourth. Bacher and Stunek will start on the third row. Now, yet to know the weather conditions for the race. I don't think we haven't gotten any word from it yet, so I think it's going to be a bit of a guessing game here. We'll just have to wait until we get into the lobby to find out. But I think you mentioned it a bit earlier in the broadcast is that if it is raining here, and we'll find out soon, just how difficult is this? Ooh. It's definitely a couple more dark clouds than some of these guys would like to see, but yeah, definitely no rain yet.
Nope, I thought I saw a little bit of rain falling, but I think it could just be the particles in the air flying off the pollen from the grass as oh, Victor hits that ready up button. So it looks like we're going to be jumping right into the formation lap. But this is it's going to make things interesting leading into the race with these dark clouds. With this dynamic weather, maybe we see some rain creep into the picture to the dismay of the drivers once again. We'll have to keep an eye out for that, Carter, as the race plays out.
And you mentioned again, I almost forgot, the first, what, 4 or 5 races we had were all wet races, and I've had a bit of a break the past 2 weeks, but yeah, look at that. It is really, really dark, at least from that angle. And Kurt Valletta is going to go ahead and lead him off on the formation lap, get these tires warmed up, especially with the conditions right now. I'm sure it can't be the hottest out on track with all these clouds, so little bit of extra work for these guys to do here on the formation lap for sure.
Yeah, and Curve Valletta, I mean, nice little burnout to start off
Yeah.
the formation lap as well, really getting the heat into the tires. But just speaking of the tires, as I'm looking through the choice, of course the top 10 all set their times on the soft tires, so that's what they're starting. But it seems like for the most part, a lot of the bottom 10 have elected to put on the medium tires rather than put
Whoa.
on the softs.
Wait a minute. What's happened? Has the glitch happened again? VMark is down in 19th place
Oh
after
no.
qualifying P2.
Oh no, I hope that that wasn't the case. I do know I've seen it in the past that if you do join in a little bit late in qualifying, it seems like as if the game, or I guess the marshals here in the F1 2020 universe, just don't register your times as they should and bump you in the back of the grid either way. So it's a bit of a setback for VMark. If now that you mention it, I didn't even notice him all the way down at the bottom of the order there.
Yep, and if that is the case, then he's really going to be upset that Kurt Valletta didn't get his time deleted because I'm pretty sure he had a late joining in as well. We were already had some cars out on track when we saw him join the session, but nevertheless, he's going to get to keep that P1 all to the dismay of VMark. Just that much more to do for the McLaren. Uh, but if anyone could do it, he's definitely one of them. And now, as the field rounds the final corner and lines up in their grid spots, it's Division 4 ISRL Esports round 7, round 8 here in Great Britain. Let's wait for the lights.
Yeah, we'll see. Will Kirk Valletta maybe take the victory from pole? Are we going to see VMark pull a last to first, or another unknown maybe take the victory here? All the questions will be answered in just a moment. And Carter, I'll let you take over once those 5 red lights to take us through the start of the race.
Yeah, absolutely, and bit of an extended wait period here. Not quite sure why,
Definitely
but
not helping with the tires for these drivers. Um,
absolutely. Yep, something is definitely, I think, gone wrong now because all the drivers, I think, are lined up. Yeah, they are. Uh, we've had a couple of drivers disconnect and rejoin, not only through qualifying, but even at the formation lap. I'm pretty sure I saw a name pop up. But
Yeah, I've been seeing Cosmo's name flash in and out quite a bit over the course
yeah, look
of
at his car.
yeah, it's sort of bouncing around. It's angsty to get started with the race.
Yeah,
I'm seeing
being
the X around his
told.
name as well. Oh,
Oh, well, we're ready. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. And they are off. It is Kurt Valletta and ISRL Jordan leading him away going into turn one. Look at them squirming around, trying to get heat into their tires. There's Sprunky going for a huge move into turn one, not able to do it. Chris Narazuro had a huge crash. He's already out of the race, but it's Kurt Valletta going way deep into turn one. And that's going to allow ISRL Jordan, but a very dangerous re-entry from the Mercedes and slams into Bacher. Wing damage for both of them. A horrendous start to this race for Kurt Valletta, and it's Jordan. And there's a Renault going way wide, and it's Josh. Luckily for him, don't think he hit the wall, but a huge, nearly 4 wide, a Haas, a Racing Point, and now there is contact. That's Rusty Oil Can being hit, but I think that was Louis, and then the Constantino effect hit him into Josh. So a chaotic start here in Great Britain. The pole sitter Kurt Valletta down to 5th. V-Mark is up to 10th in 1 lap.
Yeah, and Carter, I'm gonna have to let you take the lead here for the time being. Through all of that, I got sent out of the lobby, out of the commentators booth. So I'm just working to get back in as we speak right now.
Absolutely, and as you leave the lobby, so is Sprunky, and there's a Racing Point. What is happening here in Great Britain as cars are just driving straight off the circuit? That's 2 of them, Rusty Oil Can and ISRL Sprunky, both having huge impacts here on the last lap. Look at these two, Ephraim and Bacher going side by side, ending the first lap. Going very slowly as there is now a safety car finally. After all of that, whew, a bit of time to catch our breath here. I mean, my goodness, we've got Joseph Cozy in the comments saying, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Wreckfest, and I mean, I can't really disagree with them. 3 drivers out on the first lap, a bunch of damaged wings, but a lot of end plates surrounding the circuit. And yeah, it just all kicked off here on lap 1. And let's see, Monkeys, are you going to need another invite?
I was just about to say now that since we've got the safety car breaking the action, oh, perfect,
Yep.
exactly what I was looking for, Carter. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, no problem, anytime. But I'll tell you what, you definitely missed one of the most chaotic 10 seconds, and definitely that I've ever seen. We had Sprunky take a huge hit. I think it was coming out of Cops, or it was in Maggots and Beckett's. Rusty Oil Can only got a bit of a glimpse of him, but just was wall riding, it looked like, and then the outside wall turned into a straight wall in front of him, and just had nowhere to go, out of the race. But yeah, a horrible start for Kurt Valletta. It's only in 4th because Sprunky had to retire out of 3rd. But yeah, and luckily somehow actually Kurt Valletta did not pick up any wing damage, but Bacher definitely did, as the Mercedes pretty dangerously, I'd say, rejoined the track.
Yeah, that was, I mean, I did see that, I caught the start. Thankfully, I had the stream open right as the start happened, so I was able to catch it a little bit delayed, but I caught it nonetheless, and that was a bit of a funky line from Kurt Valletta as he went wide, coming right back on circuit, and that could have ended much worse than the way it did. But I'm, Carter, I don't know if you saw it. I'm curious about what happened to Chris Narazuro off the start. Because did he get caught up into an incident extremely early on, or was that just, because I didn't really get to see what had happened to him.
No, I didn't either, but I mean, we kind of had an interesting start off the line, a bit of a tentative one, and maybe he was expecting everyone to go faster than they did, but I honestly have no clue. It was pretty quick from lights out to a Mercedes retirement. So yeah, don't think we got it on stream, but yeah, that's Chris, Sprunky, and Rusty Oil Can already out. A lot of drivers heading into the pits. Bacher for a wing change, and a pair or a set of hard tires. Doomsray and One Wing also opting for the hards, but Josh, he decides to go on the much quicker soft tire compound and maybe gain some positions here early after the safety car comes in.
Oh yeah, and very crucially, as I'm looking over to the chat, and as Joseph Cozy pointed out, it is the reserve of a Sunic up into P4 off the start here under safety cars, so a decent start from the AlphaTauri. But more to what I was looking at, just as I noticed here, the man who started at the back of the grid up 13 positions up
Jeez.
into sixth. So that start definitely didn't phase VMark one bit, as he's already only 2 or 3 positions behind his main rival, Kurt Valletta,
Who's got a
who's
penalty? I just realized. Sorry
oh
to
my
cut you off,
goodness.
but a very early penalty for a driver we don't really expect it from. So an early hurdle for Kurt Valletta to have to overcome.
I'm taking a look and seeing just what that penalty was for. Let's take a look. It looks like it was oh my goodness, lots of warnings. It was a multiple warnings penalty very early on here for Kurt Valletta. So potentially in part due to the interesting line he took getting back on track, potentially among others. But we've got the very quick safety car, it seems, as it is
Oh,
coming
it's coming
in
in
this
already.
lap. So here we go. Start of the race, take two on lap 4. Let's see how this happens with Jordan leading the way.
Yeah, I think that was a great analogy. It really does feel like take two. Let's try this again, just with 3 less drivers. But Jordan, he's off. But Captain Blade takes a 5-second penalty, colliding with another driver under safety car. So another hamper for him. Jordan gets a pretty good start, at least relative to Ephraim and Kurt, who are battling it out between themselves here. As actually Kurt Valletta's got Stunek right behind him, right behind the gearbox of that Mercedes, and a very good start, as you said, from the two Alpha Tauris. Already second and fourth. The Stunek right outside the podium places. And now Stunek looking to go down the inside. Got a bit of a slipstream out of out of Kurt. They're still side by side now. He's going to look to go around the outside. A bit of a lockup from Kurt, and he's just able to get the power down a bit sooner than a Stunek and able to keep that P3 for now. Yellow flag in the back. I think that's
That was
Bacher.
Bacher.
Yeah, had a bit
I
of
think
an
having a
incident.
yeah, I didn't catch it, but I think he just maybe had a moment. I'm not seeing any wing damage at first glance on the Red Bull. No, there's no wing damage, so I think maybe just losing the back end and spinning the car. But Lewis and Josh going side by side nearly through Magus and Beckett's. But Lewis does back out, I think playing the safer bet not to get caught up into an incident, and that's Josh up in the 12th.
Yep, Josh up to 12th. Captain Blade, Louis' teammate, actually had a bit of a adventure taking a shortcut through Maggots and Beckett's. Luckily, no damage to him or anyone else, and they will all carry on. I think that's the first, one of the first completed laps not under safety car, at least not under yellow flag conditions. It's still Jordan with still a pretty good gap over Ephraim. Kurt looking to catch up to his championship rival, and Stunek just trying to join the party too. We've got Captain Blade and Victor going side by side, with even RH2 trying to join in on the party. There's not DRS yet, still two more, or still another lap before it's activated. But
Yep, and that
Captain
was
Blade having to defend, from Victor, and is able to do it at least for now.
no worries, but I saw RHZ trying to get that move done as well, but Victor just getting a slight better traction on the exit into the DRS straight, and was able to hold on to that P9. So RHZ having to settle for 10th, at least for the time being, but I'm sure he's going to be coming right back a little bit later in the lap and try that move once again.
Yeah, wouldn't doubt it, that is for sure. Been trying to pay as close attention I can to Viamark to see what his pace is relative to the soft tire runners in front of him, and I gotta say, look at how close he's getting to always Rick. That would have been a very bad place to make contact, but he's making incredible progress here on these guys. Look at almost having to let off the gas not to avoid always Rick. But VMark, I think if he can make quick work of these guys, he's going to be in pretty good position here later in the race once they have to make their expected pit stops.
Yo, definitely, and we'll see. VMark already putting a lot of pressure on Always Rick, like you mentioned, but Always Rick just doing a little bit of a decent defending job. And I just noticed Josh too overtook RHZ to go up into 10th elsewhere on the track, a little bit further behind. So it's a decent recovery drive from Josh after the lap one incident that he's had, already back up into 10th. But he's going to have a little bit of his work cut out for him, given, I mean, close enough to Victor and Captain Blade who have been battling it out, but between Mushroom and Captain Blade, there's a decent gap as, oh,
There's a
as
bit of a,
Cosmo
yeah,
going
yellow
slow.
flag. It is Cosmo. Had his issues in qualifying, and not really improving, or at least his luck's not improving at the moment. There's been an
Oh
off, and is
no,
that
that's
Captain
Captain
Blade?
Blade. That's
That's
Captain
been the
Blade.
area. That was the area where we saw Rusty Oil Can and ISRL Sprunky have their little moment. So maybe it's a bit of a slick spot on the track or something. But we've seen 3 cars now go off in that same area.
Oh no, and just to make matters worse, getting back on track, those tires are really hot, really dirty for Captain Blade, and does an extra little spin for good measure on those tires, trying to get back on track. So that's a little bit of time lost, but crucially no wing damage. So other than the extra heated tires, he's not forced to take that extra pit stop and fix that front wing.
So it ends up just being a couple donuts and a bit of lost time for
Oh, but
Captain Blade. Looks is
sorry,
that
but that was
Cosmo?
Cosmo. Yeah, right on the exit of turn one. I think he might have got a little bit too hot, rode the curb, and that's gonna bring out a full
The safety
safety car
car.
here. I think for the debris that Cosmo left, because he's got no front wing on that racing point, and going very slow around the corners. And that's a long way to get to the pits to get that wing changed for the
Right.
racing point driver.
Yep, and it's a bit of an extended pit stop too with the long pit entry. So you don't lose more time? I don't think, but it takes longer in the process. But I could be completely wrong with that. But definitely does make it a bit more difficult. I I'd think with the extended pit entry, but nevertheless, safety car is out. Do we have any takers? I think the soft runners are definitely going to come in. We've got Jordan, Ephraim, Kurt all coming in. Will Estunik stay out? No. So the Alpha Tauris are going to double stack here. Did Estunik leave enough room between the two? And we've got a lot of 5-second penalties now for, I think that was speeding into the pit lane. I know Estunik got one, and I think I saw a couple other ones did as well.
Yeah, I didn't quite see them pop up on my screen, but it was a little hectic going into the pits. I saw Mushroom nearly trying a little sneaky move. I don't know if it was so much an attempted overtake into the pits or more just trying to avoid bumping into the back of the car that was ahead of him. I think that might have been V-Mark potentially, as it's very chaotic here on pit road, as it looks like just about every driver other than
Top
the
four.
ones who pit under the first safety car, as well as Louis, who's sticking to his strategy, they all went into the pits and put on that fresh set of tires, probably looking to go to the end, I would think, on these new tires.
Absolutely, yeah. The only soft runner we see right now is Cosmo, and that's only going to last for a few more seconds, as he's not only going to get a new wing, but I'd have to guess either the hards or the mediums. But yeah, we've got a bit of an interesting top three now. Let's see. I want to pull up the standings real quick just to see where these top three guys are in the standings. Doomsray leads the race, currently 14th in the standings. Louis is 10th in the standings, and of course, OWR One Wing is actually in 11th. So a bit of maybe not unfamiliar territory, but maybe at least with these three together, all being up at front with a bunch of hungry drivers on fresh tires right behind them.
Yeah, so I'll have to see how they can handle this under the safety car restart. But crucially, at least if your Doom's right in the lead, you do have Lewis who's right behind, he's on a quicker tire, but it is a bit of an older tire, so that could potentially play into Doomsray's advantage, depending on how much pushing Lewis did on this stint leading up to the safety car. Maybe a little bit of a hold up or forcing some of these drivers behind to battle under the restart, which could be what Doomsray is hoping for. But there is also the alternative that Lewis handled his tires very well and gets a really nice jump on Doomsray and maybe takes the lead of this race right off of the safety car restart.
And we've seen it happen before. Maybe not at this track heading into turn one. It'd be a difficult place to make an early move. But if you get that good jump, you might have a second chance into turns 3 and 4 before the DRS straight. Of course, not activated until 3 laps after the safety car. But it is Doomsray, Luis Coelho, OWR One Wing, and Bacher. That's your top 4. The man who was leading this race before the safety car is ISRL Jordan. He still is, I guess, the leader of that pack, and with Ephraim and Kurt maintaining their order. ISRL Mushroom jumps to 8th. I think he overtook Estunik in the pits. He definitely did.
So did VMark, I think. Now that you're mentioning it, because Estunik is down in 10th. And that's VMark and Mushroom. I think they were close to one another in 8th and 9th. So I'm not too sure what happened with Sunik's pit stop. Maybe
it was the double stack.
Yes, exactly. That's you read my mind, Carter. I think the AlphaTauri team just wasn't ready for the double stack in the pit lane, and that just meant Sunik lost out on a little bit of time. But thankfully it was still under safety cars, so it's still quicker when you think about it compared to having to take that the pit stop on under green flag conditions.
Yeah, and we mentioned it as all these guys were heading into the pins. We saw a bunch of penalties start to pop up, and there they are. They're on the screen now. Now, not too sure when all of them were committed, but I know Estunik got that 5 seconds from speeding into the pit entry. I'm pretty sure VMark did as well. I think actually all the 5-second time penalty guys, I think they were all picked up speeding either in the pit lane or under safety car after it came in. So a bit of work to do for these guys. Louis got 8 seconds, so that'll be a bit of an issue for him. Still 17 laps left. And
but we're going green.
Yeah, are we? I didn't see the safety cars.
Yes, we are.
Perfect. Now I gotta hurry up and get all the right things on the screen. Perfect, there we go. And we are going back green. It is Doomsray who gets a great jump on Louis Coelho. One Wing is falling a little bit farther back behind the Haas, and he's got that Red Bull of Bacher right behind him as well. Jordan's looking to make a move on Bacher, going around the outside of turn 3. Which turns to the inside, and he's gonna make contact with the Williams of One Wing. He does, but just light contact, nothing to worry about. He's able to get past Bacher, probably the quickest that he would have wanted with the tire difference.
Yeah, and I think Jordan just had a much better start off the safety car restart than Bacher did. Yes, and already Jordan made quick work of the Red Bull and looking to be making quick work of the Williams of One Wing as well, as they're side by
goodness.
side.
Yeah, that's not usually a place you want to go side by side into cops, but look at that, Jordan able to just edge out the Williams of One Wing, and now he's going to be put under pressure from Bacher, who just got overtaken by Jordan. So Jordan really looking strong so far early in the race. We know the two championship fighters of Ephraim and Kurt had a bit of a struggling first stint to this race, but looking to bounce back here in the next couple of laps. And right now, bit of a train here. ISRL Mushroom, we mentioned when the pit stops came that he had jumped Estunik, and he's looking to put these hard tires to good use, sticking pretty well with Kurt Valletta and this kind of DRS train that's probably going to end up being.
Yeah, I mean, Mushroom's showing a lot of pace here on those hard tires under the safety car restart. The train is helping. Oh, what happened to
Always Rick?
Oh no! That's a moment on the exit of turn 1, and that's Always Rick falling way down the order, and that's going to be very difficult with the dirt on those tires, especially with the hard tires. A lot of heat being lost. Josh too making a move on Victor, and I was watching that battle, and Josh too was stuck behind Victor for nearly a good half to three-quarters of a lap, so I'm sure he's happy to get that move done. But crucially now, VMark overtook Kurt Valletta, who Kurt Valletta got overtaken by Mushroom as well. So I don't know what happened to Kurt Valletta to lose out on the two positions, but he's down into ninth, and now being pressured a little bit by a Sunik.
And an absolutely amazing move by Jordan through Mackets and Beckett's to get past Luis
Oh my
Coelho.
goodness. Look at Bacher, VMark, Mushroom, Kurt Valletta. It was
Oh
a nice
yeah.
little battle down the hanger
Whoa!
straight. This is getting a little worrisome here with the way these drivers are battling. And right up ahead, Ephraim and Lewis. My goodness.
Oh, and look at the opportunity that Bacher's going to try and take a bit of wheel banging. Opportunistic move. Look at how close they are. Nearly with three wide, and Bacher is turned hard into the inside wall. I think that was VMark who got in to the rear right of the Red Bull, and a huge contact into the inside wall brings out the virtual safety car. You almost kind of knew that was going to happen, Monkeys, but I mean, my goodness, a huge impact from the Red Bull, and he's gone from, I think, either fourth or fifth to out of this race.
Yeah, it was a scary moment for sure, especially if you're in the car. But it's like I said, he kind of had a feeling something was going to happen there with the way these cars were battling. They had kept it clean, but I think for Bacher trying to make that move on the inside of the final corner, we don't really see much of an overtake opportunities happen. I think that might have really affected him, as he really had to ride that curb on the exit of the final corner, and that normally doesn't end well, at least in my experience.
And we are back racing again. Look at this pack behind Lewis. Mushroom peeking the front nose of that car, trying to get any type of space. Nearly went alongside of him there, coming out of Maggots and Beckett's, but now no DRS yet. Actually, yes, DRS is activated, and he's going to put it to good use. ISRL Mushroom trying to get past the Haas, and he does. He's up into fifth. VMark and Kurt, ironically enough, battling it out, but VMark's going to head into the pits with that wing damage, and I think, ironically, he picked up spinning out Bacher. So another setback for VMark's going to have to do it all over again.
Yeah, but I think now he should be able to put on the medium tires and go all the way to the end of the race at the very least. Look at Josh, too, carving up the field now. Overtook a Sunik, overtook Lewis into turn one, turn two, and nearly made a move. Oh no, on Kurt Valletta. Yep, you saw that too. That was Lewis and a Sunik, as I think a Sunik tried to get a move done into turns one, turn two, and Lewis was having absolutely none of that. But thankfully, I don't think there's any damage on either one of these cars, so just a minor setback for a Sunik, but he's going to be coming right back at Lewis, I would think, before the lap is over.
Yeah, just having to regroup, get all the switches back, recharge your battery. Let's try it again. There's another racing point. That's Cosmo again in the same place. I think we saw him before, or at least one of the other drivers had an off in that same spot, but he's able to get it back going. He had just pit. I really hoped he didn't damage that wing right after he had made a pit stop. But yeah, and Josh...
Now he definitely did.
Oh, he did.
Yep, Cosmo definitely did now, trying to get back on track, but especially here at Silverstone, when you get off circuit, coming back on track, those tires are very slippery, very hot, and Cosmo's finding that out the hard way, as back into the wall he went and took some wing damage there for good measure.
Yeah, and if he's not careful, he's going to have the likes of Doomsray Jordan and Ephraim quickly catching up to him. I can't imagine that he wouldn't pit this lap, but still, even with the ghosting, a bit distracting for the front runners. Josh has been on the back of Kurt Valletta for the past 2 laps, and look at that, losing the back end just a little bit, just struggling to get past the Mercedes. He's got DRS now. Look at the 2 in front of him, though. Mushroom in one wing, going side by side. Let's quickly jump to them. We've got Josh 2 behind him. Don't think he's able to make the move, but One Wing and Mushroom were nearly down to the grass on the inside of the track, but I guess however you got to do it cleanly, you got to do it to make the pass, and Mushroom did it, and he's up into P4.
Yeah, so it's a solid drive from Mushroom, if I'm being completely honest. He's avoiding the incidents, keeping clean, being patient with his overtakes, and he's got, at least for the time
Oh
being, a
no.
P4 to show for it. Uh-oh, I don't like that. Oh no.
Yeah, well, it was Cosmo. He picked up a 10-second penalty. We had just mentioned, might want to get out of the way. That's exactly what he did. Went to the side of the track to let these leaders by. I think the game still gave him a 10-second corner cutting penalty. But so, I mean, it's just really gone from bad to worse for Cosmo. But Kurt Valletta, I mean, defending for his life right now for P6. Josh is continuing to put the pressure on him. And actually, now that I'm really noticing it, Kurt Valletta's on the harder compounded tires, so more the good job to him for keeping the Renault of Josh on the medium tires behind for nearly 4 laps now.
Yeah, and it's really showing the pace that Kirk Valletta has. I mean, we've seen it through the entirety of Division 4, and I'll be honest, the drivers' standings do seem to indicate that. But to be able to keep at bay a Division 1 driver like Josh too, who we know in Division 1 has a lot of pace. It's not something to scoff at, that's for sure. And I think Cosmo said enough's enough, and
You know, I
he's
don't
taking an
blame
early
him.
start.
Actually, yes, I do
No, I
blame
don't
him.
either.
I do blame him
Oh,
because
that's
he was in the points. If he would have, he could have still picked up 1 point, and we know that in a championship with the amount of races that we have, just 1 point can make all the difference. But yeah, he's opted to retire in 15th place.
yeah, and that's I mean, it makes it for a very upsetting weekend, especially if you're a Racing Point fan here in the watching
Good
at
point.
home, because that's both Racing Points out early and not leaving this race weekend with no points in the here in Division 4.
Yeah, absolutely. And I kind of have to say the same thing about Red Bull. Very unlucky for Bacher. Always Rick had an incident just a few moments ago, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, Red Bull 14th and 16th, 2 retirements from Racing Point. We had mentioned that maybe Kurt Valletta, who's actually having to defend again from Josh 2, both of them locking up, going now through the DRS straightaway. Luckily for Kurt Valletta, though, as well as the last lap, he will still pick up DRS from one wing, but now Josh, too, was able to get alongside of the Mercedes, and he's able to stay side by side. Big lockup. Rear end's getting a little bit loose. Another lockup from Kurt Valletta, and he is still not able to get past Kurt. So having to wait for, have to think another lap at least to maybe make another move. But knowing Josh, he's going to want to get it done before they start the cross the start-finish line to start lap 17.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe after Maggots and Beckett's, if Josh can keep close enough, might try to make a move down the hanger straight with the help of DRS.
And
But I
Kurt doesn't
think
have
Kurt,
DRS anymore, yeah? Or does he?
oh, I think he does.
That was
Actually,
weird.
no, I don't see that flap open. So you can see now how much of a pace difference that DRS does.
Oh, but he went
With
in too
Josh.
deep. And Kurt's going to be able to do the switchback and get past him again. But now is Josh going to make another move? No. So just as we had thought that Josh 2 had finally gotten past Kurt, he just drove it in too deep. And Kurt was able to get that switchback move done and get back up into P6. I mean, if I'm Josh right now, you've got to keep your cool. You've got to be getting frustrated, but this is when you've really got to concentrate and not let your guard down, not make any mental mistakes.
Yeah, and thankfully for Josh, they've even through battling, they've been able to create a nice little a cushion, a 6-second cushion to Asunik, who's in 8th. So for Josh, he can focus on Kurt Valletta, who's ahead of him. But I do have to agree with you, Carter, that if I'm in Josh's cockpit, I know I'm starting to get a little frustrated not being able to get the move done. But you have to stay calm, stay focused, because when you start getting too frustrated, that's when those mistakes start to happen on circuit, and that can hinder the race more than it helps if you can't keep your focus, like you were mentioning.
And now V-Mark, round 2 here from last to first. He's going to, as we mentioned, have to do it all over again. He's moved up into 11th. Is that the two Haas cars coming together? It is Lewis, who's had a bit of an incident exiting the pit lane, as
I
Kurt
don't
Valletta makes easy work of one wing.
Yeah, I don't think there was any contact. I think I've seen this a few times here in Division 4, because Lewis took a pit stop to get off those medium tires, put on the softs, but crucially, just on the pit exit, those tires are cold, and I think Lewis just losing the back end. Those cold tires are very slippery, and on the exit, just trying to put the power down a little bit too early and paying for it.
Ooh, and look at this, Josh 2 and 1 wing. Josh has been having to go at everyone, it seems like, in this race, and everyone's giving him their best effort, and been well played to him. But I mean, look at how close he is to the Williams, finally able to get alongside of him. DRS open, bit of overtake, and he's up into 6th to try and get right back up to Kurt Valletta again, who, through all that battling between Josh 2 and 1 wing, is able to get a bit of a, looks like about a 1.2 second gap between him and Josh, and he's even starting to catch up to Mushroom now as they all head into Cop's corner.
Yeah, so Kirk Valletta, even through all of that, showing that pure pace here around Silverstone, not only being able to fend off Josh from behind, getting the overtake done on one wing, and like you mentioned, closing up at a rate of knots to Mushroom to try to challenge for that P4. So potentially, and if he does get past Mushroom, it is a tall order to ask, trying to close up a
Well,
near 6 second gap to Ephraim. But oh,
and there he
that was
goes.
a there we
That was
go, done and
really
dusted.
fast. Yeah, I heard it in the tone of your voice. It was you weren't definitely weren't expecting the move to be made there, and neither was I, to be honest. But uh, I mean, it's Kurt Valletta. It's kind of hard to go against him. But yeah, that is the Mercedes up into 4th. And we haven't given a lot of love to Doomsray yet. He's still in the lead from the last safety car, but now Jordan, I think he might be starting to notice that the hard tires on the McLaren might be starting to wear off just a little bit, and the gap is now under 7/10 of a second. Jordan had DRS on the McLaren to even help close that gap just a little bit more.
But the key here too is Jordan is on the medium tires, so they
Yep,
are 5 laps younger. But when are Jordan's tires going to start falling off
that is true.
compared to when Doomsray's tires are going to start falling off? So we still have 7 laps to go in this race. So there's still a lot of time to see how this is all going to play out between the top three. And also, now that the beast in the Mercedes, Kurt Valletta's been unleashed with the overtake on Mushroom, he's got a lot of clean air now. I mean, a 6 second gap is a tall order to ask here for 7 laps, but if anyone can do it, Kurt Valletta can do it, and maybe challenge for a podium on those 10 lap old hard tires, which is, I'll be honest, I feel maybe the more optimal strategy out of the top four here, at least so far from what I'm seeing.
Yep, I couldn't really disagree with you there. And I mean, poor Josh. I mean, this guy has probably had one of the hardest races of the season. I mean, everyone is giving him their best effort. Kurt Valletta picks up another 3 second penalty. I'll switch to the penalty counter here in a second, but right now it's Josh 2 and Mushroom. Even Kurt Valletta starting to be caught by the Alfa Romeo. I even think Mushroom's going to get DRS off of Kurt, and he will. But I think Josh might have even better ideas, at least for himself. He's going to look to go down the inside, then thinks better of it. Mushroom goes just a little bit deeper, and not able to get the best line through those corners. But still, Josh is not able to find a line that'll help him pick up any extra traction. But I think he's having an idea, and I think thought better of it. Definitely not an overtaking place here at Cops, so he'll stick behind now. And who is that? Is that Ephraim going out? And it is Ephraim into the grass. And I can't help but think that that was as a result from Cops corner. So
It's
Ephraim
looking
down
like
to
it.
7th.
Yeah, I didn't see what happened, but it definitely is looking like what you mentioned, Carter. On the exit of Cop's corner, just pushing the car a little bit too much, and maybe this is a sign that these medium tires are
Oh
starting to
boy.
feel a little bit aware.
Yep. And if that's the case, then the likes of Jordan, who's done all this fantastic driving to get right back up to Doomsray, might be starting to sweat a little bit, noticing these other medium tire runners start to spin out. But yeah, the likes of Jordan and Josh, even Victor and RH2, might start to be sweating just a little bit more than usual. But I think luckily for Doomsray and Jordan is now they're going side by side. Jordan's got the DRS. Doomsray's not going to put up too much of a battle as he knows he's got the fresher tires. But as you said, really not by much because these other medium tire runners are starting to maybe fall off the cliff here a little bit.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see. Now, I do think, in terms of if I'm going to compare Jordan's tires to Ephraim's tires, I do think Jordan's might be in a little bit better of shape given where he was on that safety car restart. I don't think there was nearly as much battling, so Jordan, I think, was able to conserve those tires a little bit more. But there is still the wild card, like I mentioned before, of Kurt Valletta. But to be fair, Kurt Valletta has kind of kept that gap a little right around the same, and here comes Mushroom now trying
Oh my
something down the
goodness.
outside. So Mushroom wants to kind of get involved in this battle. He
Can he
wants a
do it?
podium for himself.
He's going to go around all the way around the outside, stay side by side with the championship leader, and he's able to get the move done. And that's ISRL Mushroom up into the podium places. And even with the penalties right now, he would keep it from Kurt Valletta, but actually might end up losing it out to Josh. Just 4 laps left. We'll keep the penalties on the screen. Just so the viewers can maybe figure out for themselves the possible finishing order. But it's Doomsray who hasn't, to be fair with them, hasn't really dropped back as much as I thought he might. And to your point, is this the time when Jordan's tires maybe start to hit that cliff? Because he pulled out a good maybe 7/10, 8/10 of a second, and as Josh too had a bit of an incident. Nope, just battling
Nope,
with
just
Kurt
battling it
Valletta.
out with Kurt Valletta.
Yeah,
Once
but
again,
yeah, do you think that Josh might, or it's not Josh, Jordan might start to be struggling now?
potentially, but sorry, I was a little captivated by
Oh,
this near 3-car battle
yep.
between Kurt Valletta, Josh, and Mushroom. I think you saw that too.
Oh yeah.
My goodness. But no, I do think, I mean, Jordan hasn't really shown too much in terms of the way, in terms of like losing the back end a little bit. It seems like Jordan's handled his tires pretty well. But to be fair, looking at Doomsray now, I think he's handled his tires pretty good as well. So they might be sort of in a similar position with the tire wear, just given where the mediums and the hards would wear.
Mushroom is absolutely hounding Kurt Valletta. I honestly don't know how neither one of them spun. There was a little bit of light contact, at least through these past couple corners. You saw a big impact to the rear end of the Mercedes at Cops Corner when they were, as you said, nearly 3 wide. But now Doomsray has picked up a 3-second time penalty, so even if he's looking to get past Jordan, now they go side by side, there's contact. Luckily for the McLaren, does not spin around as a result. Now looking to go around the outside of the Ferrari, and it's going to close, the track's going to close up quick on them. They're able to keep it on. They're still side by
Oh
side. They
no.
definitely want to get it sorted out before Cops.
But Doomsray crucially took a penalty, I think, for exceeding track limits on the exit with that side-by-side battle with Jordan.
Did he pick up another one?
I don't think it was another one. I think that was his
Oh,
first
was that it?
3 seconds for Doomsray, because the top 2 were driving a clean race. But now Doomsray might need a little bit of help from the penalty gods if he wants to keep that P1, even if he does hold on to it on track.
Yeah, and may have to hope for some some driver errors from Jordan and Josh, but Josh not in a position to jump Doomsray, still about 6.5 behind Doomsray, and would just settle for third if the race were to end right now. Mushroom all over the place, trying to keep it on track, starting to get a bit loose with the car as the laps really start to count down now. It's gotten away from me here. We're on lap 24 of 26 here in Great Britain Division 4. And it's still Doomsray with a slight lead over Jordan. Josh is a bit further back, and the championship leader Kurt Valletta, I mean, probably one of his toughest races of the season for sure.
Oh, definitely. Kurt Valletta's done a lot of battling here through the entirety of the race. We saw a lot of it on your on the stream with the man in third, Josh too. And as well as the person behind in fifth, Mushroom. I mean, these three cars, third, fourth, and fifth, have been doing some battling basically through the entirety of the race ever since that second safety car came in. And I mean, it is a
Oh,
tough.
Doomsray! Sorry to cut you off. Doomsray, out of the lead of the race, has had an off somewhere in Maggots and Beckett's, and that's the leader of the race down into fifth. And Jordan just made it easier on Jordan and Josh to get past him, not even having to worry about the penalties. But a huge incident from Doomsray out of the lead of the race with 2 laps to go. It's Jordan, Josh, and Kurt Valletta.
Yeah, and crucially, that might have just gifted Kirk Valletta a podium here, because now he and Mushroom equally have 6 seconds of penalties, along with Doomsray, who now has 6 seconds, compared to no seconds just a few laps ago. So if Kirk can just keep steady, keep on course, keep it on track, and keep it clean, he might still be able to snag a podium out of this through all of the mayhem that we've seen so far up until now.
Absolutely, but it's still ISRL Jordan out in front here in Division 4. Got a couple comments saying, yeah, he's got some nice pace. Not really surprising, but a welcome surprise, actually, to see a new leader here in Division 4 with just 2 laps left to go. Josh, too, might just end up being a case of too little too late for him. He's closed the gap significantly over the past couple laps, but now ISRL Mushroom putting the pressure. He wants that final podium position, and he's really, really struggling to keep that car going straight, as we see running over his own dirt marks in the slipstream of Kurt Valletta with the DRS open. Can he make up that gap? Oh, look at this! He's going to go down the inside. How they did not spin out, I have no idea. Very risky move from Rush. He's going to go for it again. Even more contact. Even turn the wheel to maybe give him a nudge. Is that Mushroom? Did he get the place, or are they still side by side? They are going into the final lap. Kurt Valletta with a bit of a nudge back to Mushroom to hit him off the track. Can't go side by side through here. Bit of a switchback from Mushroom.
Oh my
And
goodness.
there goes Kurt. Kurt is off on the last lap.
Oh my goodness, we've got drama here on the final lap of the British Grand Prix in Division 4, and I'll be honest, I think the stewards are probably going to end up having a look at that incident a little bit more in detail during the stewards meeting this week, because I mean, I did see it was some nice side-by-side battling between the two drivers. I saw Mushroom go very wide, but that was some very close switching back, lots of wheel-to-wheel action, and it's unfortunate that it had to end the way it did, with Kurt Valletta spinning and falling down into fifth.
Yeah, unfortunate for him, but luckily that's why. I guess that's one of the good things that he's got that pretty decent gap.
Oh, but Mushroom!
Oh
And
no!
Maggots and Beckett's had a moment on the last lap here. I just noticed that. So Mushroom down into fifth, and through all that, Kurt Valletta back into fourth.
Him. So maybe no love lost there, but it's going to be ISRL Jordan who takes the win here
but
in
that's
Division
Josh
4. Josh is now
donuts
spun!
too.
What is happening here?
I think Josh is having a little bit of fun doing some donuts, trying to get back on track. As I mean, he's still spinning around, falling to the back of the order. But
well, a bit surprising. I mean, I can guarantee you that the order that is on the screen right now is bound to change. But somehow, Kurt Valletta on the last lap of the race in turn 1 gets spun around by Mushroom, and somehow still gets third. He got a podium when he was sideways on the last lap of the race. And then, yeah, I don't know what happened to Josh.
If you would have told me just a few laps ago that Doomsray would have gotten a second place after ending up nearly in the wall in Maggots and Beckett's, I would have said you're crazy, but here we are.
What? I mean, Jordan was, luckily for him, was just able to get out in front of all the chaos, but Yeah, Doomsray coming back from, I think, what was it, 6th or 7th with just a couple laps to go. Even Astunik, we got to mention some of these other guys. We got Victor in one wing with a great result. He finishes in the top 5. Astunik gets 7th, and Victor, I think, got 6th. I'm not too sure. Driver of the day is, well, maybe he pressed him with the donuts. But that's the
I
Codemasters
think
driver of
so.
the day. Yeah, I think he had to
Gave
have been.
gave some fan service with those donuts on the last lap. I think did Josh too.
Yeah, absolutely. Free room service for all these fans. And there is ISRL Jordan at the top of the podium with, I think, probably a bit shocked. Doomsray and Kurt Valletta definitely weren't expecting to be standing where they are. And just going to have one more quick look at the standings before we sign off. And yep, and there we go. 2 drivers only, I think, did not have any penalties. Actually, maybe a couple more. Some of them didn't finish the race. But yep, there is your finishing order. One of the most chaotic final few laps of a race that I've ever commentated. Just brings back that Baku Season 2 Division 2 vibe. But yeah, Monkeys, who was your top performer for the race today if you had to give one out?
If I had to give one out, I mean, Jordan had a fantastic race. Really, kind of, he did what he had to do. Wasn't caught up in, didn't make it flashy, didn't make it overly exciting, but did what he had to do, got the job done, and brought that Ferrari from second to the grid up to first. So it was a solid drive from Jordan, as we mentioned, showed a lot of pace, and I think he might be a bit of my vote for the driver of the day here, as far as my personal opinion goes.
Yep. Well, and for anyone wondering, VMark was only able to manage 10th out of all of that chaos, so a bit of a setback for the man in second in the championship, but that just leaves it all up for grabs next week for round 9. I think that is going to be it for us here at ISRL Esports in Division 4. Appreciate everyone coming out and tuning in for ISRL Monkeys. My name's been ISRL Carter. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see everyone next week. Oh, and one more thing. We've got Formula Fridays on Friday and Divisions 3 to 1 all on Sunday. Daylight savings times definitely going to play a factor, so definitely check our Discord for the race times. But yep, saying that, guys, thanks so much. We'll see y'all next